Second Shot, Episode 3, written by SoK Padua. Morning came, and Aya, still riding the high of her tournament victory, shuffled out of her room in her banana-patterned pajamas. The faint aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air as she prepared a light breakfast. She sipped her coffee, savoring the warmth, when the doorbell rang. Curious, Aya padded to the door and peeked through the eye-hole. Her eyes lit up with surprise. "Master?" she exclaimed. She flung the door open, a mischievous grin spreading across her face. "What's up, Master? Coming here so early?" Kenta laughed as he stepped inside, brushing snow off his coat. "What's wrong with you? I drop by now and then. But seriously, those banana PJs? You're 30 years old, Aya." Aya blushed, crossing her arms defensively. "So what? Just because I'm 30 doesn't mean I can't wear what I like," she retorted, her laughter bubbling through. Kenta settled onto the living room sofa as Aya called out, "Mom, Master's here." From upstairs, Sakura's voice echoed, "Kenta? What's he doing here?" Moments later, she descended the stairs, her curiosity piqued. "What's up, Kenta? What brings you here so early?" Kenta leaned forward, his expression turning serious. "I need a favor. It involves Aya." Aya tilted her head, her curiosity sparked. "What is it? Why me?" "There's another tournament happening in Toronto after New Year," Kenta began. "It's a snooker competition. Aya, you used to play snooker before, right? I think you should give it a shot." Aya's eyes flicked to her mother before returning to Kenta. Her expression softened, her voice steady. "Master, that was a long time ago. I only joined your tournament because of you. I don't plan on fully returning to the sport. I made a promise to myself and Mom." Kenta nodded solemnly. "I understand. Your mom told me about the promise a long time ago. But Aya, you're talented. Even if you don't go pro, playing now and then could bring you joy." Sakura stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. "Aya, I know about the promise, and I love that you've always stayed by my side. But I also want you to be happy. Watching you play, seeing the joy on your face, it reminds me of who you truly are. You shine when you're at the table." Tears glistened in Sakura's eyes as she continued, "I was so proud watching you win that tournament." Aya's gaze dropped, her emotions swirling as she glanced between her mother and Kenta. Before she could respond, Kenta, moved by the moment, blurted out if needed, "I'll stay by your mom's side so you feel comfortable." The room fell silent as the weight of his words sank in. Realizing what he'd just said, Kenta slapped a hand over his mouth, his cheeks turning crimson. Aya's lips curled into a mischievous grin. "Master, are you?" But before she could finish, Kenta shot up, bolting for the door. In his rush, he slipped on the icy pavement outside, landing flat on his back with a groan. Aya ran to the doorway, wincing as she saw him clutch his lower back. "Oh, that's gotta hurt. Mom, call 911. 911? What happened?" Sakura exclaimed, hurrying to the scene. She stopped short, her concern giving way to laughter as she saw Kenta sprawled on the ground. Only Kenta could turn a heartfelt moment into chaos. The December winter day was in full swing as Alex and his friends cruised through the picturesque streets of historic downtown Newmarket. Snow blanketed the sidewalks, and festive lights twinkled against the backdrop of red-bricked buildings. The frosty air carried the faint scent of pine from nearby holiday decorations, creating a postcard-perfect scene. "This place is incredible," Terrence said, slowing the car to take in the sights. "Look at those buildings. Feels like stepping back in time." Geneva leaned forward, her eyes widening as they passed a familiar structure. "Wait a second. Isn't that the firehouse we saw during the live stream? The billiard hall?" Terrence squinted, his gaze following her finger. "Yeah, That's it. Looks like it's part brewery, part sports bar and grill. Man, what a setup. Let's check it out, Geneva exclaimed, already buzzing with excitement. Alex, sitting quietly in the passenger seat, finally spoke up. We're going in? His voice was calm, but his thoughts were anything but. The name Aya Konoe echoed in his mind, accompanied by a swirl of memories and questions. Could she really be here? Terrence grinned, pulling over to park near the firehouse. Why not? We've got time to kill, and I could use a drink. The trio stepped out of the car, their boots crunching against the snow-covered pavement. Before them stood the two-story building, its red brick facade glowing warmly against the cold, gray sky. The building's rustic charm and bold, repurposed design drew their attention immediately. Alex lingered behind his friends, his gaze fixed on the entrance. His breath clouded in the air as his mind raced. This place, could it hold the answers I've been looking for? Alex lingered behind his friends, his gaze fixed on the entrance. His breath clouded in the air as his mind raced. This place, could it hold the answers I've been looking for? Looks like it's closed, Terrence said, shaking his head in disappointment. That sucks. Well, what can we do? Let's grab some food somewhere else on the way, Alex suggested, though his voice betrayed his own disappointment. Geneva, however, wasn't ready to give up. She stepped closer to the sign, squinting at the posted hours. The bar and grill opens at noon. That makes sense. Why don't we wait or tour the area? I really want to eat here. Alex and Terrence exchanged a knowing look. When Geneva had her mind set on something, they both knew resistance was futile. Your call, Alex, Terrence said, raising his hands dramatically as if surrendering the decision to him. Alex laughed, shaking his head. You're just shoving this on me, huh? Fine. Let's explore for now, and come back when it opens. Maybe we can check out Aurora or head further north. Geneva's wide grin was all the answer they needed. Without missing a beat, she and Terrence hurried back to the car, leaving Alex to trail behind. As he climbed into the passenger seat, Alex glanced back at the firehouse one more time. Something about the place tugged at his thoughts, though he couldn't quite put his finger on why. 2 hours later, Aya arrived at the taproom, her eyes scanning the red-bricked facade. She read the sign aloud, muttering to herself, "The old flame taproom and sports hall? What a mouthful. EW. No way I'm telling Master about this." Glancing around to make sure no one overheard, she chuckled and stepped inside, the warmth of the building immediately chasing away the winter chill. The faint scent of hops and grilled food lingered in the air, mingling with the early morning quiet. "Oh, hi, Aya. You're the one opening the shop today?" Rebecca, one of the waitresses, greeted her as she entered. "Yeah, Master took a bad fall this morning, something about his back, and now he's pestering my mom about it," Aya said, laughing. Rebecca raised an eyebrow. "He's with your mom, huh?" Aya's mischievous grin widened as she leaned closer. "Rebecca, you know something, don't you? Spill. I'm the boss today, so you better tell me everything," she teased, nudging the waitress. Rebecca laughed, her cheeks reddening slightly. "Well, I've overheard a few things. Master and your mom? They've been talking on the phone a lot. And your mom does visit here more often than you think." Aya's eyes widened as she grabbed Rebecca's hands. "No way. Does this mean Master's going to be my uncle someday?" she squealed. Rebecca laughed, squeezing her hands. "Or better yet, your second dad." The two burst into laughter, jumping up and down like schoolgirls caught up in their own playful conspiracy. Their antics drew the attention of the arriving staff. "Good morning, Miss Aya," the chef greeted with a polite smile. "Morning," Aya replied, quickly composing herself. I'll be helping out today, so please guide me through everything. Of course. Don't worry, there's a booklet with all the drink recipes Master uses, the chef reassured her. Perfect. Let's make today a good one, Aya said, clapping her hands. She glanced around at the growing bustle of the staff and smiled. All right, let's do this. Aya threw herself into her new role behind the bar, juggling orders and learning the ropes as she went. The steady stream of customers quickly turned into a flood, and she barely had a moment to breathe. The hum of chatter filled the room, blending with the clink of glasses and the occasional laugh from the tables. The rich aroma of hops mingled with the scent of grilled food, making Aya's stomach growl despite the chaos. She poured beer after beer, her hands moving on autopilot. Please don't ask for any mixes, she muttered under her breath, her nerves jangling with every new order. I'm way too nervous to mess that up right now. As the bar filled, Aya began to notice something. It wasn't just the billiard hall drawing the crowd. It was the beer, too. Customers were ordering flights and raving about the craft brews, each one poured with care. Aya paused for a moment, glancing around at the bustling scene. I thought this place was famous for the billiard hall, she said to herself, shaking her head in amazement as she rushed to fill another glass. Master, I'm looking at you in a completely different light now. The orders kept coming, and Aya found herself swept up in the rhythm of the job. Despite the chaos, a small smile tugged at her lips. All right, maybe I can survive this after all. Hours had passed, and Aya finally managed to sneak in a cozy 15-minute break. Stepping outside, she welcomed the icy evening air that stung her cheeks and made her breath visible. The cold felt like a blessing, a sharp, jarring contrast to the warmth of the bustling bar and the endless stream of beer she'd been pouring. I need this, she thought, her arms wrapped around herself. Anything to feel awake again. On the other side of the taproom, Alex and his friends finally arrived. Geneva stormed ahead, her irritation plain as she scolded the two men behind her. We planned to eat lunch here, and now it's practically dinner. Why do I even bother? Alex, unbothered by her complaints, walked straight into the building without paying much attention to his surroundings. Rebecca greeted them with a cheerful smile. How are you? Good evening. Looks like Madam is fed up with these two hunks already, Rebecca teased, her eyes twinkling. Geneva sighed. We're fine, thank you. It's just been a long day. Can we get a private room? As Rebecca reached for the menus, she froze, her eyes landing on the man with crutches. Her heart skipped a beat as recognition dawned. That's Alex Shelly, the international snooker player. Oh my, she said, quickly regaining her composure. Yes, of course. Please follow me. Taking 3 menus, she led the group upstairs to a private room, her hands trembling slightly from excitement. Meanwhile, Aya stepped back inside, rubbing her arms to shake off the lingering cold. The noise of the taproom hit her like a wave, laughter, clinking glasses, and the murmur of conversation blending into a chaotic symphony. Her tired feet dragged her back to the bar, her body aching from the nonstop rush. I'm too tired, she muttered, stretching her arms as orders began to pile up on the machine once more. This is what Master does every day? What a tough guy. As the dinner crowd poured in, the taproom buzzed with renewed energy. Aya glanced at the growing queue on the screen and let out a dramatic groan. Seriously? Make it stop. After a while, the staff were all busy with their tasks, leaving Aya with a rare moment of quiet. She glanced at the pending orders on her screen and noticed one for a private room. Thinking hard, she decided to handle it herself, feeling a sense of responsibility to provide proper service. After a while, the staff were all busy with their tasks, leaving Aya with a rare moment of quiet. She glanced at the pending orders on her screen and noticed one for a private room. Thinking hard, she decided to handle it herself, feeling a sense of responsibility to provide proper service. "Rebecca, I'll take this to the private room," Aya said after a moment, grabbing the bucket of canned beer and cups. Walking toward the room, Aya moved cautiously, her hands steady as she focused on not spilling anything. "Slowly, Aya. You'll be a laughingstock if you mess this up." Slowly, she muttered under her breath, her heart pounding with each careful step. Finally reaching the door, she pressed the buzzer. The faint sound of cue balls clashing inside made her smile. Footsteps approached, and the door opened to reveal a man with curly hair and a refined-looking Japanese woman. "Hi. Your order, please," Aya said cheerfully, her voice steady despite her nerves. "Thank you," Terrence replied with a polite smile, stepping aside to let her in. Aya carefully placed the drinks on the table, bowing slightly in acknowledgement of the guests. As she straightened, her gaze wandered to the billiard table in the center of the room. The scattered cue balls brought a familiar thought to mind, one that made her chuckle quietly. "Snooker, huh? Alex is good at it," she muttered, almost to herself, her lips curling into a smirk. "Alex freaking Shelly. Who even came up with that nickname?" "EW," she added, her voice tinged with playful disdain as she laughed softly. Unbeknownst to her, someone else had entered the room. Standing just to her side, leaning slightly on his crutches, Alex Shelly himself turned toward her with a gentle smile. "Yeah, I am good at it. Thank you very much for the compliment," he said casually. "And it was a sportscaster who gave me that nickname." Aya froze, her heart skipping a beat. Slowly, she turned to the source of the voice, her eyes widening as recognition hit her like a cue ball breaking the rack. It was him. End of episode 3. See you next time and thank you for listening.